The INFJ personality type is often called the advocate or the counselor. These people may not speak the loudest, but their minds are constantly working. INFJs are rare, and their intelligence is even more unique. It's not just book smarts or trivia facts. Their intelligence shows up in how they see the world, understand people, and solve problems in creative ways. What makes INFJ intelligence so insane is that it often flies under the radar. They aren't the type to show off, but when they speak or act, others are often surprised by the depth and accuracy of their thoughts. They have a gift for reading between the lines and connecting things that don't seem related on the surface. While others focus on what's right in front of them, the INFJ is often thinking several steps ahead. But INFJs also care deeply. Their minds and hearts work together. That's why they can solve problems while still thinking about the people involved. They are thinkers and feelers, and that blend creates a kind of brilliance that's hard to find. In this video, we're going to look at 6 specific ways INFJs use their unique intelligence. Each one highlights a different strength, from deep thinking to powerful empathy. Whether you're an INFJ or just curious about them, this will help you understand what's really going on behind those calm eyes and thoughtful words. So let's break it down and explore the mind of the INFJ. Way number 1. Mastering patterns with introverted intuition. Ni. At the heart of the INFJ's intelligence is a mental tool called introverted intuition, or Ni. It's the way INFJs gather information, not by looking at facts or numbers, but by noticing patterns. This happens quietly in their minds. They take in bits of information over time, and their brains begin to connect the dots, often without them even trying. For example, an INFJ might watch how someone reacts in different situations. Over time, they begin to understand what makes that person tick. They can often guess how someone will act in the future. It's not magic, it's their intuition at work. They see small signals and connect them faster than most people. This ability isn't limited to people. INFJs also notice patterns in ideas, events, and even in how society is moving. They may pick up on cultural shifts before others do. They often have thoughts like, if this continues, then that will happen. And more often than not, they're right. This is because their brains are built to work like that, looking beneath the surface and spotting connections others miss. This pattern-based thinking makes INFJs excellent at long-term planning. While other people react to what's happening right now, INFJs are thinking about what could happen a year from now, or even 10 years from now. That's why many INFJs become writers, counselors, teachers, or planners. They naturally see how ideas develop over time and can guide others with that knowledge. Introverted intuition also gives INFJs a deep sense of insight. They often just know things. While they can't always explain how they know, they have a strong gut feeling that usually turns out to be true. This kind of intelligence isn't something they were taught. It's something that's part of who they are. But this gift can also be overwhelming. Because they process so much beneath the surface, INFJs need time alone to sort out what they're feeling and thinking. Too much outside noise can make it hard for them to listen to their own thoughts. That's why INFJs often enjoy quiet places or solo activities where they can reflect. INFJs also use this ability to support others. They may sense when a friend is upset before the friend says anything. They pick up on emotional patterns too. This helps them give advice or comfort without needing every detail. They just get it, and that can be powerful in relationships. To sum up, the INFJ's introverted intuition lets them see beyond the obvious. They understand people, ideas, and trends in a way that seems almost psychic. They're not reading minds, they're reading patterns. And once they see those patterns, they can plan, guide, and create in ways that surprise everyone around them. This ability doesn't come from showing off. It comes from sitting quietly, paying attention, and thinking deeply. It's the kind of intelligence that doesn't need to shout, because the results speak for themselves. Whether it's in their careers, friendships, or private thoughts, INFJs use their pattern-seeking minds to shape the world around them, often in ways no one else can see coming. Way number 2. Emotional intelligence through extroverted feeling. Another powerful form of INFJ intelligence is emotional. This comes from a part of their personality called extroverted feeling, or FE. It helps them understand people, feel what others are feeling, and respond in ways that create harmony. Many INFJs can walk into a room and immediately sense the mood. They pick up on facial expressions, tone of voice, or body language. They notice when someone is nervous, upset, or holding something back, even if no one else notices. This is more than being polite or friendly. It's a deep emotional awareness that helps them read situations in real time. This ability makes INFJs very supportive friends. They often know the right thing to say, or even when to say nothing at all. They can make people feel safe, heard, and valued. Their intelligence isn't about controlling others, it's about understanding them. INFJs want people to feel connected and seen because they value emotional depth. In group settings, this emotional intelligence is especially useful. INFJs are great at keeping peace, solving conflicts, and building bridges between people. They can sense tension and often act to calm it down before it grows into something bigger. They want people to feel included, and they'll go out of their way to make that happen. But this strength also has its challenges. Because they care so much, INFJs can sometimes take on other people's emotions. They might feel drained after social events or struggle when someone they care about is in pain. That's why they need time to recharge, often by spending time alone or in nature. Still, this emotional sensitivity is one of the ways they shine. In romantic relationships, INFJs are often very devoted and thoughtful. They remember small details, notice unspoken needs, and express love in quiet but powerful ways. They don't need grand gestures. For them, love is shown in actions, not just words. Their emotional intelligence also helps them in careers. INFJs often become counselors, therapists, coaches, or teachers because they naturally connect with others. They listen deeply and speak with care. This makes them trusted and respected by those around them. Even when they aren't in helping roles, INFJs bring emotional awareness to whatever they do. Whether they're writing a story, leading a team, or designing something new, they always keep people in mind. They want their work to make a difference, not just in results, but in how it makes people feel. So while many think of intelligence as logic or numbers, INFJs prove that emotional intelligence is just as real and just as powerful. They understand people in ways that are rare and deeply meaningful, and they use that understanding to build better lives, not just for themselves, but for everyone around them. Way number 3, deep analytical thinking with introverted thinking. T. While INFJs are mainly known for being emotional and intuitive, they also have a strong logical side. This comes from a lesser-known part of their personality called introverted thinking, or TI. It's not their main way of thinking, but when INFJs develop it, it becomes a quiet and sharp form of intelligence. This type of thinking shows up when INFJs are trying to make sense of something complex. They want to understand how things work, not just on the surface, but at the core. They ask themselves, why is this the way it is? Or, what is the real truth here? They take things apart in their mind and look for flaws or missing parts. It's like they run quiet investigations in their heads. What makes this interesting is how it blends with their intuition. INFJs may get a gut feeling about something, but then their T steps in to break it down logically. This gives them balance. They don't just go with their feelings, they also look for structure, rules, and patterns that make sense. This mix of logic and intuition helps them see both the big picture and the fine details. This can make INFJs strong writers, researchers, or thinkers. They may spend hours reading, studying, or analyzing ideas just to understand them better. And they do it not to win arguments or prove points, but because they truly want to know. Their search for truth is personal. It matters to them that their ideas hold up and make sense. Introverted thinking also gives INFJs a quiet confidence. They don't need outside approval to trust their own thoughts. When they've looked at a problem from every angle and come to a conclusion, they feel sure about it. And while they may not argue loudly, their points are often well thought out and hard to dismiss. Sometimes, INFJs can appear quiet or distant when they're in this thinking mode. They might be deep in thought, working through a problem in their mind. Others might think they're zoning out, but really, they're building a mental map. When they finally speak, what they say often feels clear and well put together. This type of analysis also shows up in how INFJs make decisions. While they often lead with their heart, their tie helps them back those choices with logic. If they feel a certain path is right, they'll also make sure it makes sense. They might ask, does this idea hold up? What are the flaws? What are the facts? They don't want to be driven only by emotions. They want their choices to stand up under pressure. INFJs also use this logical strength to improve things. They look for weak spots in systems, methods, or even in their own thinking. They don't mind changing their minds if new facts show up. In fact, they welcome it. Their tie helps them be flexible in thought, always open to refining their views as they learn more. Overall, INFJs may not always show their analytical side in public, but it's a key part of how their minds work. It adds structure to their feelings and clarity to their insights. When this part of their intelligence is active, INFJs become problem solvers, truth seekers, and silent builders of ideas that can stand the test of time. Way number 4. Visionary planning and foresight. Another powerful use of INFJ intelligence is their ability to plan far ahead. Many people live in the moment or think only a few steps ahead, but INFJs often think in years. They have a natural sense for long-term planning, and it shows in their goals, decisions, and even conversations. This isn't just regular planning. INFJs often have a strong inner vision, a feeling of what their life should look like, or what their purpose is. They might not be able to describe it perfectly, but it guides them. It's like they have an inner map that helps them make choices, even when others don't understand what they're doing. This vision comes from a mix of intuition and purpose. INFJs don't just think about what they want. They think about what will matter, what will last, and how their actions fit into a bigger picture. This makes them great at setting meaningful goals. They're not chasing success for attention. They're chasing what feels true to them. In work, this can make INFJs powerful leaders or planners. They may quietly guide a team toward a future goal that others haven't even thought of yet. They don't just react to problems, they work to prevent them. And they're often calm during chaos, because they've already seen it coming. This ability also helps them stay focused. When an INFJ has a clear goal, they'll work steadily toward it, even if it takes years. They might not talk about it much, but they're always moving forward. That makes them reliable, even if others don't always notice. But this gift can also be heavy. INFJs sometimes struggle when their inner vision doesn't match their current life. They may feel lost or restless until they find a path that feels right. That's why it's important for INFJs to check in with themselves often and make sure their goals still match their values. INFJs also use this planning ability to help others. They might help friends think through a major decision or guide someone through a life change. They often see what others can't, and they share that insight in a way that feels kind, not pushy. This makes them trusted advisors even in casual settings. Their long-term thinking also means INFJs don't usually chase quick fixes. They want real solutions. Whether it's in health, relationships, or work, they'd rather take the slow path that works than rush into something that won't last. This kind of foresight protects them and others from making poor choices. In short, INFJs are long-range thinkers. They don't just dream, they plan. They build lives that are shaped by quiet, steady thought. And their intelligence shows not just in what they know, but in what they build over time. Way number 5. Creative problem solving. INFJ are deeply creative people, but their creativity doesn't always look like painting or writing poems. It often shows up in how they solve problems. They approach challenges with fresh ideas, deep thinking, and a personal touch that makes their solutions stand out. This creativity starts with their strong inner world. INFJs spend a lot of time thinking and imagining. They often picture different outcomes, rehearse conversations, or run through scenarios in their minds. This mental practice helps them come up with ideas that others might miss. When faced with a problem, INFJs rarely take the first idea that comes to mind. Instead, they ask questions like, what's really going on here? What hasn't been tried yet? What would feel right to everyone involved? These questions lead to answers that are both smart and thoughtful. They also think across fields. An INFJ might take an idea from psychology, mix it with something from art, and apply it to a social issue. This kind of cross-thinking makes their ideas feel new and useful. It's not just about being different, it's about being effective. Their creativity also shows up in how they support others. If a friend is stuck, an INFJ might suggest something the friend hadn't thought of. And they don't just throw out ideas, they consider the person's feelings, goals, and values. Their creative advice is always personal. This skill can be seen in careers too. INFJs often thrive in roles where they can improve things. Whether they're writing, teaching, coaching, or designing systems, they want to solve problems in a way that helps people. They're not just fixing things, they're making them better for the future. One of the INFJ's creative strengths is their ability to mix logic with emotion. Their ideas make sense, but they also feel right. That balance makes their solutions easy to accept and apply. People trust them, not just because they're smart, but because their solutions work in real life. Even when INFJs face personal challenges, they use creativity to cope. They might journal, make music, or design their own way through a problem. They rarely follow the crowd. Instead, they make their own path, one that fits their inner world. In short, INFJs are creative problem solvers. They use their minds and hearts to craft answers that are deep, honest, and helpful. Their creativity is quiet, but it leaves a real impact. And in a world full of noise, that kind of quiet genius makes a big difference. Way number 6. Altruistic leadership. NFJs are not the kind of people who chase leadership just to be in charge. But when they lead, they do it with quiet strength and deep care. Their intelligence is not used to dominate others, it's used to uplift them. This is what makes INFJ leadership so powerful. It's altruistic, it's driven by values, empathy, and a desire to make things better for everyone involved. At the center of this leadership style is their strong moral compass. INFJs think a lot about what's right and wrong. They want fairness, truth, and purpose in what they do. When they lead from these values. People often follow them because they trust them, not just their skills, but their heart. INFJs also listen. They don't bark orders or talk over others. They ask questions, hear people out, and truly care about what others are experiencing. This makes them approachable and easy to trust. Team members often feel seen, heard, and respected. INFJs create space for others to be themselves, and that's what brings out the best in a group. This doesn't mean they're soft. INFJs can be firm when they need to be. When something goes against their core values, they won't back down. They will speak up, even if it's uncomfortable. Their courage doesn't come from wanting to win. It comes from wanting to protect what's right. And people feel that. In group projects or work environments, INFJs often guide the team by asking the big questions. What's the goal here? How will this affect people? What do we really want to create? They think beyond the numbers and the deadlines. They think about the purpose behind the project, and that gives the work more meaning. Their planning skills also help. INFJs don't just react, they prepare. They're usually thinking a few steps ahead, planning for challenges others don't see yet. This makes them steady leaders during stressful times. When others panic, INFJs stay calm and focused. They've already thought things through. In personal relationships, they lead by example. They set a high bar for honesty, care, and emotional depth. They don't tell others how to live, they show them. Their kindness is steady, and their actions often speak louder than their words. Friends and loved ones often look to them for advice, guidance, or emotional support. This form of leadership can be tiring. INFJs often take on more emotional weight than they show. They care deeply about doing the right thing and may struggle with self-doubt or burnout. That's why they need time alone to recharge and reflect. But even when they're tired, their mission to help and guide others stays strong. In creative or purpose-driven careers, INFJs can make a huge impact. They may lead nonprofits, teach, coach, or advocate for change in their communities. They don't need to be in the spotlight. They just want to make things better. And when they do lead, they leave lasting results that speak for themselves. So while the world often celebrates loud leaders, INFJs lead in a quieter way, through care, vision, and integrity. Their intelligence shows up in how they listen, how they plan, and how they fight for what matters. They don't just lead people, they lead them towards something better. INFJs are some of the most quietly brilliant people out there. Their intelligence doesn't scream, it speaks gently, with depth and wisdom. They see things others don't. They feel things others miss, and they act in ways that combine heart and mind like no other type. We've seen how they use their introverted intuition to spot patterns and their extroverted feeling to read emotions. We explored how they think deeply, plan far ahead, solve problems with creativity, and lead with heart. Each of these ways shows just how layered and powerful their intelligence really is. But INFJ intelligence isn't about being better than others. It's about using their gifts to help, to guide, and to create change. Whether they're helping one person or planning something big, INFJs always bring their full mind and full heart to the table. That's why INFJs are often called old souls or wise beyond their years. It's not just because they think deeply, it's because they care deeply too. They mix logic with emotion, vision with action, and silence with strength. If you're an INFJ, know that your way of thinking is powerful. Even when others don't understand it, your mind is always working, always connecting, always caring. And that combination is rare. Use it, grow it, share it. And if you know an INFJ, take a moment to appreciate their quiet depth. There's so much going on beneath the surface. And once you understand it, you'll see just how incredible their kind of intelligence really is.